Speaking of Calgary, let's bring in Mike Richards, who is very famous in Calgary. Mike, what is on your mind besides crazy hair today?
I'm not wearing the hat. Just letting it go. Going full David Lee Roth, Van Halen, around 1987, 1988. Little Eddie action in the background. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the Super Bowl. Like a lot of people, I think you've got some real star matchups. You got some great athletes. I'll never ever get sick of watching Patrick Mahomes. To me, is just the Steph Curry of the NFL. I love both athletes. I love how they play. I love how they see it. I love how they really kind of see the game themselves. And I take a look at, a San Francisco team, McCaffrey, this is and I probably am very representative of how CFL fans think. Like, we'll look at a player in college and go, man, he'd be great up here. Yeah, McCaffrey would have been great up here, but there's no way we were ever going to get him. But you know what? He's that style of player. We up in Canada have always loved the athlete, the all-round guy, which is why Doug Flutie holds a place where he does. He certainly does for me. And we love those kinds of guys who can kind of do everything. And you'll see both of that on both sides of the ball coming up in a couple of weeks. So usually I have someone I don't like. I don't like the coach, or I think the coaching staff is weak, or I don't like. Well, I look at this matchup, and Rod, I'm looking at it. Whether you're a hardcore CFL guy or whatever your love is, it's just football. We're having a football conversation, man. That's what it is. And I look at what both bring. I look at both sidelines, and I'm like, bring it on. I just love good football, and I think we're going to get it. I think this is going to be a good one.
I was reading some stats today. It's nice to not read opinion and stuff. Like, this is the 8th rematch in Super Bowl history. And the last 3 have been won by the one that won the first game. And if that was the case, trending that the Chiefs will win, which reminds me, the 49ers opened as 2-point favorites, and then it's been trimmed to 1. I'm shocked that the Chiefs aren't favored to win this thing. What's your take on that?
I really do think this is close. And to think that San Francisco could win or would win this game would not be a surprise. But I think it is, in gambling terms, it's like a try bet. So anywhere in between 6 points, I think you're probably a winner. I think the key for me in this game, and I'm sort of a little surprised what happened in the last matchup, and that's the run defense of San Francisco, of the Chiefs. When you're San Francisco and you've got the kind of guy that you do, I expect McCaffrey to get that ball. He could get that ball 20 times. That's just on the ground. That's just rushes. He could see at least another 3 in the air. He's a one-man wrecking machine. Do I think overall he's going to have 100 and some odd, 125 yards in that game? I do. And I think that to prove a point, I think sometimes in terms of coaching, which is why when I look at teams like what happens in Dallas sometimes, what I perceive to be a huge problem, well, maybe not anymore, but with the Chargers, it's the sideline. Like, what do you get from the sideline? I'm a huge Andy Reid fan. I think the world of that guy. I think his players show it. And I think on the other side, you're seeing a reflection of, why does a guy like Purdy excel? Well, yeah, it takes a team, but it takes a concept. It takes an understanding. It takes continuity from ownership on down, and that comes on the sideline. And I think both teams have that. So does this come down to a field goal? I think it probably does. I would be very surprised if it went any other way, where some team is up by 10 or 14 points. I mean, it's always possible. It is sports. But I would be the last person surprised if San Francisco wins this thing. And for a guy like Brock Purdy, we'll see. Well, how healthy and what does Debo look like? Ayuk has got to, if he's got to show up. And of course, my biggest problem leading up to this was always the Travis Kelce, I'm in love with a pretty girl who makes $1 billion thing. Okay, we get it. You're in love. Okay, hold hands and ice cream cones. And I don't want to see it on a Sunday. Here's a shocking revelation. I would just like to see football. I would just like to see a catch in the end zone. And if you want to show her occasionally, fine. But it gets to be one of those things like, remember Kurt Warner? They'd always show his wife. And then the hate that she kind of got, which was sort of mean. But and I'm not for that. But I get that, for the most part, in escapism, most men are watching football on Sunday to get away from love, to get away from relationships, to not have to talk about feelings. Like, oh, isn't that nice? It's a great story. No. You know what a great story is? That one-handed catch, and he went into the end zone like a bull in a china shop. And trust me, there were moments in that month period when they were like, Oh, baby, did you see me make that catch? I did, baby. You're the most amazing. So are you, baby. I'm gonna kill somebody. I'm gonna get in a dump truck and I'm gonna drive into a building. No one cares. And for that month, he wasn't very good, and he was dropping balls like everybody else on his team all year long. Because Kansas City, what did they do best? They were dropping footballs left and right. I don't know. And again, this goes back to Patrick Mahomes. There would be other quarterbacks, certainly in this day and age, who would light up their receivers, who would say a bunch of things. The team's not doing enough. He started talking to third person. Patrick Mahomes did none of that. Like, he really didn't. Not to the degree that maybe a Mike Richards. Mike Richards.
No, he can't because they're
right. Rod Peterson's got to make that catch.
Their wives are tight. Their wives are tight. I'm sure you've been in that situation. You don't want to be that guy. We're going out for supper after. Am I supposed to light him up on the sidelines? I can't. Right?
Well, I also see the Strevler talk as it came out, in which I don't think a whole bunch of people will be surprised that he's back where he had success and he has an affinity for it. He loves the team. The city loves him back. But to think that for some reason people not believing that he got a fair shake, well, I don't know if you played pro sports. It has nothing to do with fairness. It has only to do with results. And if you can't throw me that football, I'm giving you a chance. Like in Arizona, I am giving you a chance to stay. If you don't, it's just simply on you, and you had a shot that, I guess, a lot of other people don't get these kinds of shots, regardless of what he did in preseason with the Jets. I mean, none of that really counts, kind of. It's really what you do, Rod, when you get a chance. If someone puts me on a radio station tomorrow in New York City and I'm on WFAN, if I get a reaction that isn't good, I'm just gone. If they don't think I can carry the ball in New York City or Los Angeles or Miami or Houston or Atlanta, the reality is you got your shot and you didn't make it. So that's fine. But I don't want to hear about, oh, he should have got a better chance. Well, number one, you do have to advance the ball by throwing in the air. This is not Tim Tebow. This is not, you can go down the list of guys who don't have that talent, but there's no way you're staying in the NFL with that. No chance.
Unfortunately, we've reached the end of our time, Mike.
That's
it. Have you been to a Super Bowl?
How much time did Moose take on his crappy segment? See, he took too long. That's the problem.
He's the boss, so yeah, I know. Have you, listen, take 90 seconds. Do you have a Super Bowl story? Have you been?
I've never been. I've never been to an NFL game. And people say, what are you saying about it? You didn't go to Buffalo? But here's the thing, though. When you're, and certainly of the era that we are, I was such a hardcore CFL fan that I never wanted to talk about the NFL. I was an enemy of the NFL. When they would play exhibition games at the then Sky Dome, I was not pleased. So I went eras without really even wanting to pay attention to the NFL. So I don't have that experience. What I find now, Rod, is that I've become what I think is a football fan. So look, I've always loved the CFL. I've coached high school football, which was fantastic. I'm a huge college guy, but I like football at every level. And one day, hopefully soon, and maybe we'll both be on Radio Row. You never know. I mean, of course, Vegas would be a problem for me. I think you'd be okay, but you'd probably also have to bail me out. But I really hope that one day we'll be doing that soon. We'll get Ellie Lilani from Bet Regal. We'll get him to pay for it.
We would be a good team now. Back in the day, blind leading the blind. Yeah. Okay, Mike. Thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy the ball. Keep in touch.
I will. Thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure.
The ageless, the peerless, the iconic Mike Richards.